So, are you thinking about moving to London or relocating here? Well, definitely you might have some preconceived notions, and we're definitely going to be busting some of the 5 top myths about London. Let's dive in. Myth number 1, it rains all the time. Well, as I say, I absolutely love living in London. I've been here 12 years, but I also say the weather is a disaster. Now, for me, it typically means there's definitely going to be lots of gray days, and I don't think I've looked at the sky more than I ever have living here in London. But the myth that it rains here all the time really isn't true. Actually, London gets about 23 inches of rain a year, and it actually rains less than New York City, Brisbane, Rome, Istanbul, and Rio de Janeiro. While we'll definitely have lots of gray and dull days, but the thing that really makes London weather really weird is that on any given day, you could have to pack your umbrella, sun hat, sunglasses, scarf, as the weather can shift and change in a heartbeat. We've got an average of 200 dry days out of 365, so again, it doesn't rain all the time. In the tables here, you can see that the average temperatures in the hottest months of July and August is 19 degrees Celsius and 66 degrees Fahrenheit, with the average high temperatures of 72 degrees in July Fahrenheit, which is 22 degrees Celsius. So it doesn't make for some really balmy days, although it seems like every year we'll get 1 week where we've got some extreme temperatures. Everybody loses their minds. And when I say extreme, I actually mean about 85 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 25 degrees Celsius. So not extreme. The problem is UK and London doesn't have the infrastructure for heat. So many buildings, many residential won't have air conditioning. So if you do like it cool, this is a perfect place for you. But don't forget to pack that wellies, umbrella, and sun cream all at the same time. Myth number 2, the food here is not great. When people ask me, how's the food in London, I always say, clearly you haven't been here for at least 20 years because the food scene has changed so dramatically. And nothing could be further from the truth at this point. Currently, there are 73 Michelin-starred restaurants in London, and according to a report by Alpha Travel Insurance, London ranks ahead of New York for its list of cities with the most Michelin stars. It comes in at number 4 behind Tokyo, Paris, and Osaka. London's food cuisine is so diverse, and one of the things I'm so excited about is that the West African cuisine is definitely expanding, and you've got plenty of options. As a great example, you've got the twice Michelin-starred West African restaurant called Ikoyi, which has moved to its new location on the Strand. It showcases dishes based on West African spices that creates an incredible fusion of flavors. And of course, I can't mention the London food scene without mentioning one of its native sons, Gordon Ramsay. He's a multi-Michelin-starred chef and restaurateur, and his London restaurants include Patrice by Gordon Ramsay in Knightsbridge, Restaurant Gordon Ramsay in Chelsea, and Restaurant 1890 at the Savoy Hotel on the Strand. So while we've got Brick Lane and everybody knows that London actually has some of the best Indian restaurants that you will find in the world. Some of my personal favorites include Gymkhana and Trishna, which are owned by the same trio of siblings, and I recently had a fantastic meal at the Cinnamon Club in Westminster. Number 3 of myths about London, it is a concrete jungle similar to New York. Again, nothing could be further from the truth. One of the things that I think makes London so magical, and even compared to Europe, is where in Europe you see a lot of piazzas and squares and things like that. They're all concrete. Here in London, you have so many lush green public squares as well as the private gardens that we've talked so much about. You've got the 8 royal parks of London, which include Hyde Park, Kensington Gardens, Richmond Park, Bushy Park, Green Park, St. James's Park, Regent's Park and Primrose Hill, Greenwich Park, Brompton Cemetery, and Victoria Tower Gardens. 75% of Londoners are within a 15-minute walk to a park. You've got the private garden squares that so many people have access to, where they'll be the only ones that can access these beautiful oases in the middle of the city. London apparently has 3,000 parks of varying sizes designated by the boroughs as public open space, and 18% of London is green space. If you want to know more about London's green spaces, don't forget to check out my videos on the Royal Parks of London, as well as great neighborhoods that have direct access to a fantastic park. Number 4 on our list is that London is crowded and noisy. Well, to be fair, it is crowded and noisy. However, there's so many ways to avoid the crowd. One of my best pieces of advice when people ask me about coming to London to visit, I say definitely walk. There will be streets that are parallel next to the noise and bustle of the main streets that offer just a completely different experience. You'll get to discover so much, you'll notice the architecture more, you'll just be so much more immersed in it, and you can definitely find quiet on these streets. While example, around Oxford Street, you've got the incredible noise and crowdedness of Oxford Street, but then you can go onto a side street like St. Christopher's Place, where you discover some wonderful shops, restaurants, and a calmer environment. Or Brunet Gallery rooftop gardens nearby, where you've got the Japanese rooftop garden. Or if you're in Marylebone, you can walk along Marylebone Lane versus Marylebone High Street. There you'll find some wonderful boutiques and restaurants that are a lot calmer and quieter than the main Marylebone High Street. Or if you're up around Maida Vale, you can find Formosa Street, where there's wonderful pubs, restaurants, and a food scene that you will absolutely love. Another great example is Jermyn Street, parallel to Piccadilly. Piccadilly is almost like Times Square in New York. There's so much going on. You've got the Royal Academy of Arts and lots of arcades off of it. But Jermyn Street is a much calmer, more classic street that takes you back to the olden days. It's a lovely classic street, home to London's finest men's tailors, shirt makers, and leather goods, and you'll find some really cute brasseries and cafes along the way. If you're looking for quieter neighborhoods instead of prime central London, you might want to check out Maida Vale, Tower Hamlets, or Suffolk. And finally, of our top 5 myths about London, everything is expensive. While I can say that housing is probably very expensive, and for many people it has become quite unaffordable, you can definitely experience London for free in many cases. For example, many of the museums throughout London are free. One of my favorites is the V&A Museum, where you can definitely enter. You might have to pay for the special exhibitions, but you can definitely experience it. Or like the Natural History Museum, the Science Museum, the Royal College of Music, the British Library is phenomenal, the British Museum, Institut Français, or the Design Museum. Travel is even affordable, especially if you go off-peak. Or you can walk through so much of London for no money and get your exercise as well. Or you can rent a bike or a scooter that is prevalent throughout the city. You can enjoy theater for as little as £5 or £10, and there's many free live music venues or open-air events. The parks host free events throughout, and you can obviously always enjoy a picnic in a park. And if you do want to check out the streets of London, don't forget to check out the street art prevalent in many parts, such as around Old Street or Shoreditch. So what was your favorite part about the 5 myths of London? Did you have some of your preconceived notions that I've definitely managed to bust? Well, if you've got more thoughts about London or questions about moving here, please make sure to reach out to me. I'm happy to always have a conversation. I'll definitely see you on the next video, and don't forget to hit the like button and hit subscribe if it's your first time, as I put out weekly videos about the London property market and living in this incredible city where we're always busting our myths. See you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to check out my other videos on my YouTube channel, where I share great tips and information about the London property market and living in this fabulous city. So that's Arinzeh with Onyx Property Team and Keller Williams. Bye for now.